Well, I'm more or less just doing this live as a way to upload an easy video without having to go through the editing process for it. So it'll just kind of upload automatically. But it's just been, man, last summer I was just ripping on this bike hard and no issues. And this summer it's just been one issue after another with this thing. Started with the tire, which is a small thing, whatever. Had a nail in the tire, so got a new tire for it. Then I had crack in the fuel tank. I couldn't get a fuel tank for it, so I had to get aircraft fuel tank sealant, seal that up, and there's probably something else in there. Um, hey, hon, I see you're in there. Um, but the main thing was the oil pressure issue, and I had uploaded a video of it, and y'all can go back and see it. It's like one of the last videos I uploaded. But what happens is the oil pressure light will blink for a second, or it will blink a couple of times intermittently, wide open throttle, above 14,000 RPMs, so like right near red line, third, fourth, and fifth gear. So, I pulled the oil pan off once already, and I found some debris on the pickup tube screen, and I was thinking, okay, that's got to be it, right? So cleaned it off, put it back together with a new gasket, still doing it. And I tested oil pressure per the service manual, which is like testing it at 4,000 RPMs, and it was at spec, but it doesn't do it then. And it seems pretty sketchy to me to hook up a manual oil pressure gauge and freaking run this thing wide out. But I may end up having to do that anyway. Just zip tie a manual oil pressure gauge up to the top of it and try to watch it while I'm going for it. I had an oil pressure switch. It's not a sensor. It's just an on-off switch from a G37 engine off an Infinity. And I put it in there, and that crappy wiring is just temporary, just to test it, because I didn't really want to pay for a new switch. And it's still doing the exact same thing. I don't think it's a switch issue. So the next thing was to pull the pump out. And this is the backing plate here. You can see there's scoring there. And then the pump body is just cast into the lower casing of the block. And there's scratching on the backside there. Can't really do anything about that. I lightly sanded that down with some very fine emery cloth just to get the high spots off of it. But I don't want to get it flat, because then you're taking material off, and then you're just making your gap in there even bigger. So that's not good. But basically this bike, and I won't go into how I confirmed it, but I did confirm that, as well as I could have, that it did have a new engine put in it at 13,000 miles. It's a 2007. It was part of a recall. So the engine has about 20,000 miles on it now. It was a warranty job. And I even called the Kawasaki dealer to confirm this, and they were like, yeah, a warranty engine job, there's almost no chance that they put a new oil pump in with it. So I'm thinking, when the old engine locked up, that they threw that old pump in with the new engine. And so I pulled the pump out. You see all that galling in there? That definitely looks to me like it sucked up debris from the original engine that locked up on this thing. My camera to focus. It's not going to focus. There we go. You can see that. See all that pitting and that scratching? So I could get in. I got a new backing plate and a new pump on order for it, and I'm going to put it together with that and see what it does. Because what I think is happening is I think it's just barely enough that the pump is cavitating above 14,000 RPMs and it's dropping oil pressure. And then I was looking at it even further, and you can see it. See if I can get it. You can see the play in here. Get this so you can see it in the light. See that side-to-side play on that top vane? That should be perfectly, that should fit in there perfectly. If I can get it, we can see the light on it. Shouldn't have that side-to-side movement. Hopefully you can see it. So I'm thinking that that is what's causing it. The pump is cavitating at above 14,000 RPMs, but we'll see when I put the new pump in it. If it's still doing it, I can go in. I should have replaced the oil pressure relief valve when I had the pan off the first time, but I didn't because I didn't think that was the problem. But if it's still doing after that, I'm going to put a factory pressure switch in it, relief valve. And if it's still doing it after that, then I'm going to take the valve cover off and see if anything was screwed up in there when the previous owner did the valve check on it. And if it's still doing it after that, it's got to be a rod bearing or main bearing issue, and I'm done with it at that point. This whole experience just makes me want to dump this and never touch another zx6r. I just see this is not a 636, this is a 600. If I see more blown up 636s than any other 600, and it's usually top end, broken valve spring, drops a valve into the cylinder and just grenades the whole motor. But I think the pump will fix it. Usually a bearing oil issue is low pressure at idle. It's typically not an issue in higher RPMs. And I found some, it was for Chevelle's forums where people were saying they were having weird oil pressure fluctuations in higher RPMs. And the general consensus was that it was an oil pump issue. So hopefully that'll fix it. I don't know, but it's just been one freaking thing after another with this bike. I mean, last year it was solid. But this year it's just giving me all kinds of trouble. So I don't know. I may still dump it after I get it fixed, just while it's in good shape. But my dumb ass, I ordered $200 worth of brake parts for it, and I put a quick shifter on it. And I was thinking, oh, this oil pressure issue, like there's no way it's a serious problem. But turns out it potentially might be. Or I might just be getting ahead of myself and it could just be a pump issue because, you know, that. But anyway, I am fortunate though, you know, it could be my only bike. So I have multiple bikes. And there's the 250 sitting over there in the corner. So I gotta figure it out one way or another. Excuse me. And if I end up having to dump this bike, I'm gonna get a 750. So anyway, that's all I had. Just wanted to post this up, see if anybody had any input, if they had dealt with such a specific thing of dropping oil pressure and high RPMs, and if they had any input. But anyway, that's all I had, and I'm gonna close out the live now. And thanks for watching.